For the third time in 4 seasons, Sam Houston State and North Dakota State are meeting in the FCS playoffs. The Bison beat the Bearcats in the championship game in 2011 and 2012. Tonight, the winner moves on to Frisco and the FCS title game. The winner of North Dakota State and Sam Houston State will take on the New Hampshire, Illinois State winner, which is set for tomorrow at 2 Eastern on ESPNU. Anish Shroff alongside former first-round pick Kelly Stauffer. Last year, North Dakota State steamrolled to a title. They dominated in the postseason. It hasn't been easy this year. In fact, this postseason run has been defined really by resilience and banking on that championship pedigree.
You know, what's interesting is we've heard the comparison with Florida State, actually, learning how to win. Don't ever underestimate the power that goes with learning how to close out games. That's exactly what North Dakota State is doing right now.
In their first 2 playoff games, this was a Bison team that had to rally both times in the fourth quarter.
When the game was on the line, Anish, this team's tradition showed up. They expect to make the plays in order to win games like this. We may have another close one here this evening.
Meanwhile, as for Sam Houston State, they've made a remarkable transformation just in season. 4 games in, the playoffs seemed like a long shot. Now they're as hot as anybody.
Yeah, an amazing transformation from game 1 to what we see out of this team today. And remember, the field of 24 in the FCS, all you have to do is get in the game. And that's exactly what this hot team is. Now they have as good a chance to win this thing as anyone does.
The Bearcats have won 8 straight. They're 10-1 since that 1-3 start. And the winner of this game moves on to Frisco, Texas, and the FCS championship game on January 10th. North Dakota State won the toss. The Bison will defer, so Sam Houston will receive the opening kick. In this building, North Dakota State has won 22 in a row. The Fargo Dome, as you'll see tonight, one of the best home field advantages in college football, certainly in the FCS.
You know, Anish, I think teams come in here down by about 10 points on average. That's exactly what they have to overcome, and Sam Houston State has been hot. And they're going to have to remain hot to get this win here this evening.
And the Bearcats have played well on the road this season. The last 2 wins at Villanova and at Jacksonville State. And the Cats will start at their own 25-yard line. Sam Houston State quarterback Jared Johnson. For him last week, the stuff of legends. Came down with the flu a couple of days before the Villanova game. Was quarantined in his hotel room for 36 hours. He emerges to throw for more than 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he led his Bearcat team to victory in that fourth quarter. On first down, Johnson will keep it. He's a true dual threat, closing in on 1,000 yards rushing this season. We want to welcome those viewers watching high school basketball on ESPN2. Semifinal number 1 here in the FCS playoffs. Sam Houston State with the ball, and Jared Johnson is sacked by Kyle Emanuel, the winner of the Buck Buchanan Award. That goes to the best defensive player in the country.
Yeah, Kyle Emanuel did not have a great game a week ago against Coastal Carolina, and we expected him to show up. You can see him coming off the right edge, the jump inside with very quick feet. He needs to play big here this evening.
On 3rd and long, movement on the right side of that line.
Ball start. Offense, number 73. On right penalty. Hold on.
That's Brandon DeWitt, the all-conference right tackle. For the Bison, they've been dominant here at the Fargo Dome, 22 straight home wins. They've won 13 straight postseason games. And if North Dakota State were to win tonight, they would get to the FCS championship game for a 4th straight season. 3rd and long for the Bearcats. Johnson in trouble, he'll run. And he's tackled shy of the original line of scrimmage. And Sam Houston State will punt on its opening drive. This is a Bearcat team that's been as hot as anybody. They've won 8 in a row. They started 1-3, 10-1 since. They're the only unseeded team left in this tournament. In fact, they were the only unseeded team to get to the quarterfinal round. And they have won the last 2 wins at Villanova and Jacksonville State, both seeded teams. C.J. Smith waves for a fair catch, makes it inside his own 25-yard line. A 51-yard punt by Brad Donovan. The Bison, the gold standard in the FCS. 3 straight championships. As we mentioned, 22 consecutive wins here at the Fargo Dome. And this has been a new cast. North Dakota State lost its head coach from the three-peat. Craig Bohl, Chris Kleiman promoted from defensive coordinator to head coach. And this team also lost 20-plus seniors from a season ago.
Yeah, so many new faces, but the commonality is there are a handful of guys that have played a ton of games and won multiple championships. They're teaching the youngsters and see if they can continue this dynasty going forward.
From the eye on first down, last week's hero, John Crockett. And he has stood up immediately, leading the charge. P.J. Hall, the talented freshman on that Bearcat defensive front. Well, you look at the change for North Dakota State. All the seniors gone from last year. That includes the winningest quarterback in school history in Brock Jensen. Although Carson Wentz, under center now, has had a terrific first season as a starter, 13-1. He accounted for 3 touchdowns and last week's quarterfinal win against Coastal Carolina. Play action. Edge pressure. Wentz eludes the pursuit. And finally chased down by Tristan Eche, the middle linebacker who had 11 tackles against Villanova last week.
And that's a pretty decent look at what kind of an athlete that number 11 Carson Wentz is. You can see right there, he's a big dude at 6'6", 230-plus pounds, but we're told he runs a 4.5 40, and you can see the elusiveness on that play before. That was dead on arrival, but he got a little bit out of the play, gets him into third in a much more manageable situation.
Alongside Kelly Stauffer and Ish Schroff, glad you can be with us on this Friday night here in Fargo, North Dakota. Semifinal number 1 of the FCS playoffs. 3rd and long, here's the blitz. Wentz throws it up downfield and way over his intended target, R.J. Urzendowski. North Dakota State playing its 2nd consecutive game without top receiver Zach Fraw, still out with a hamstring injury.
And the best vertical threat, Anish, and they needed him on that play. That was the calling card for defensive coordinator Mike Collins and this Bearcat defense. Is they're going to get after Wentz. They're going to force his hand and try to force him to make plays under duress, just like they did on that 3rd down play.
They might be coming after Ben LeCompte here. Sam Houston State blocked a punt in the first quarter against Villanova last week. Gerald Thomas signals for a fair catch, makes it after a 52-yard punt. So both teams trade a pair of punts. We're underway at the Fargo Dome. The winner of this game moves on to Frisco and the FCS championship.
The 2014 NCAA FCS Football Championship is brought to you by McDonald's, I'm loving it, and the Venture Card from Capital One. Earn unlimited double miles you can use with no blackout dates.
You're watching the NCAA FCS Football Championship presented by Northwestern Mutual. Planning for Success is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. How do these teams plan for success?
Well, Sam Houston has to play an incredibly clean game, especially on the offensive side, and then handle the environment. We've already seen one mistake by Sam Houston State early in this one. North Dakota State, they're going to punch them in the mouth with their physical run game, and then they're going to get to the edges with their haymaker. We'll see how many of those they land early, and if they do land them, how does the defense of Sam Houston State respond?
The Bearcats, one of the great stories in the FCS this season. New coaching staff for them. They implement a new offense, get off to a 1-3 start, and able to right the ship in midseason. Here they are, one win away from getting to Frisco in the championship game. Four-man rush here on first down. Johnson's pass over the middle, incomplete. He wanted Gerald Thomas, the Colorado transfer.
Something to keep an eye on early is Gerald Johnson hasn't taken a lot of snaps until this season as the starter, and he looks a little shaken early in this game. He has to settle down. He didn't see it clearly on that play, and North Dakota State is going to get after him.
Johnson will keep it on the zone read. He dances across the 20 to the 23-yard line. It's a gain of 3, 3rd and 7. Johnson this season closing in on 3,000 yards passing. He also has a chance to get to 1,000 yards rushing tonight.
And the last probably 7 or 8 games, he's more like a 65% completion guy. Much better technically and fundamentally during the last 11 games of this season.
You're already seeing the impact of this crowd on tempo. Safety blitz. Johnson going over the top. Incomplete, intended for Ladarius Brown. He's their best receiver, and he has been a monster this postseason.
And C.J. Smith, the corner that was covering for the Bison on that play, is the best cover guy for North Dakota State defensively. But Ladarius Brown is a grown man playing that wide receiver position. Transferred in from TCU. I watched him yesterday in the walkthrough, and he's the real deal. He's a matchup that they have to find a way for number 85 Brown to make an impact on this game.
Donovan on to punt it again. Good kick. Fair catch by C.J. Smith. He makes it at the 29-yard line. There is a penalty marker on the play.
Penalty flag on the play.
It's back at the Bearcat 21.
Illegal motion, kicking team. That penalty added 5 yards in it. First down.
Jeff Heiser, part of a Big South officiating crew. The star last week for North Dakota State, senior running back John Crockett. A career-high 227 yards against Coastal Carolina in a quarterfinal win. And with his performance, he is now the school's single-season leader in rushing yards.
And playing maybe the best football of his life lately. His legs are fresh. He has kind of a hop in his step. And just a tone setter for what North Dakota State stands for offensively, that power run game. And Crockett is the epicenter of everything they want to do in that power game.
2 tight ends here on first down. Give is to Crockett, stretch play. Crockett spun down at the 35-yard line by Michael Wade. And Crockett and Wade, 2 of our impact players.
And Crockett, obviously the workhorse, and then Kevin Vodlin is the guy, the tight end, the play-action passing game, stressing those safeties. P.J. Hall is the disruptive guy on the edge, and then Wade, he's the best defensive player for this Sam Houston State team. There's no doubt about that. He will be down around the line of scrimmage a lot here this evening.
Watch number 92 as well, as you mentioned, P.J. Hall, lined up at the top of that defensive line. This is Wentz, quarterback draw, didn't fool anybody. And it'll bring up 3rd and long, a gain of just a yard. So far, both teams have looked good on defense.
Yeah, and we actually expect to see more quarterback run out of North Dakota State. Wentz is a guy that can certainly do that, and a lot of his quarterback run game tonight is actually tied to what they call double checks. when he gets to the line of scrimmage and he sees a pressure look, they want him to run the football away from that.
Pressure from the Bearcats. Crockett gets rid of it. It's incomplete. It hit the umpire, and it'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, the only thing that ball hit was the umpire. Hit him right in the bean, but Urandowski was on the cross route, and that's the man-beating route. He just didn't create much separation. You can see Urandowski right there coming across, and then the umpire gets one right in the noodle.
Ben Lecomte playing with an injured quad, punts it away. Gerald Thomas lets it bounce. It'll roll inside the 20, and that's where it's down. A 45-yard punt. Nothing but punts so far from these two.
Studio over on ESPNU. It's the Amos Alonzo Stag Bowl Division III Championship. Surprise, surprise. It's Wisconsin Whitewater and Mountain Union. Kevin Burke finds Torrey Scott for the touchdown there, but Wisconsin Whitewater just scored. It's now 26-14 over on the U, guys.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Casey Keeler, in his first season as the head coach of the Sam Houston State Bearcats, he came over from Delaware where he had great success, led that program to a championship in 2003, got them to the championship game 2 other times, and he's rebuilt this roster immediately with a lot of FBS transfers. You look at Sam Houston State, they lost to North Dakota State in the championship game in 2011 and 2012. They've taken off after a rough start, and in this postseason, they've been road warriors. The only unseeded team left, the Bearcats have beaten both Jacksonville State and Villanova, 2 seeded teams, and the Bearcats won those games on the road.
And certainly a team, and he's just getting hot at the right time. And once they got all of those new faces on the same page, they've looked like a different team. There isn't any doubt about that. And they started kind of tough, but they had a couple of bye weeks and righted the ship.
3rd drive for the Bearcats. Keyshawn Hill out of the backfield, and he's canceled by Christian Dudzik, the senior free safety. That's the strength of this Bison defense, the safeties.
The safeties and Christian Dudzik and also Colton Hegel, they've started collectively 115 starts between the two of them. There isn't anything they haven't seen, and they react very quickly out of the back end.
2nd and 11, play fake. Johnson steps up, going downfield for Brown. He's got a step, but he can't catch up to the ball. He had Colton Hegel beat, and Johnson overthrew it by just a little bit.
And Johnson found the right matchup. That's a mismatch for North Dakota State. They don't want to make a habit of putting Hegel out on Darius Brown, and you can see the flat-out speed at the 6'2", 220-pound receiver that has that kind of vertical speed. He got over the top of Hegel in a hurry.
Johnson 1 of 4 early on. Pressure from up the middle, screen to Hill. Across the 25, barrels forward, close to the 30-yard line, and he's going to be very close to a 1st down.
A good job by Sam Houston State that time is anticipating the pressure and throwing the screen over top of it. And Hill is a complete back. He's also a big physical back at 5'10", over 200 pounds, but he does so many things well. Breakaway speed, he's a good receiver of the football, as we saw on that screen right there.
They'll measure to see if Hill got enough for the 1st down. He had to get the 29-yard line.
I don't know if Hill knew what he needed for a 1st down. I thought he could have put a little bit more effort into the finish of that play and picked this one up.
And he didn't get it by that much.
You know, and you watch the end of this. It's well executed. The offensive line gets out there, but right here, how about a little better finish and convert to move the chains? And he comes up about 4 inches short, and it appears that Casey Kegel's team is going to punt.
Way too early in the game to go forward, and if you don't get it in this atmosphere, you give the Bison a short field. So Sam Houston State will kick it away.
Yeah,
Dudzik, the deep man for North Dakota State.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a good decision by Casey Keeler, and Not a time or a place for it right here early in this one.
Brad Donovan stepped in at punter when Lachlan Edwards got hurt earlier this postseason. He's a rugby-style kicker. Dudzik makes the catch at the 32-yard line. It's a 39-yard punt. Still no score. 8:24 to go here in the first quarter. Semifinal number 1 from Fargo.
The 2014 NCAA FCS Football Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual, proud to be an official corporate partner of the NCAA, and in part by Buick. Celebrate the holidays by experiencing the new Buick.
Jensen, touchdown, Bison. North Dakota State has won its 3rd straight FCS championship. P.J. Hall, the Sam Houston State freshman defensive end, has been a menace this season. 11 sacks. He finished 3rd in the voting for the Jerry Rice Award, the highest of any defensive player. And that honor goes to the best freshman in the country. He does not play like a freshman.
No, and he's really made this defensive line a much better group the last several games. And he's that sudden explosive guy that is a constant disruptor out on the edge.
And he'll line up on both sides of the D-line. Play action. Carson Wentz over the middle. Wide open, Kevin Vaughtlin. And Wentz overthrew him. It also looked like Vaughtlin stopped running.
Yeah, he did seem to slow up a little bit, and that's the play-action passing game. You can see the tight end Vaughtlin coming right down the middle of the field when Sam Houston State's safeties stick their nose up at the line of scrimmage in the run game. That's when the play-action pass comes, particularly to the middle of the field where those safeties are vacating. That was a great look at it right there.
Vaughtlin, a 6th-year senior, had a touchdown catch last week in the quarterfinal win against Coastal Carolina. This is Chase Morlock. He's tackled behind the line of scrimmage by the middle linebacker Tristan Esche.
And right now, Sam Houston State is getting a very, very good run fit up front, and that's what you have to do against power. Remember what North Dakota State wants to do. Power means that they're relocating multiple offensive linemen to the point of attack. They have double pullers a lot of times, a tight end, sometimes a fullback in there, and you have to meet power with power. And sometimes it gets a little annoying, but that's the game for Sam Houston State defensively tonight.
Neither team has a first down in this game. This is the 6th possession of the game. Bearcats have had it 3 times. 3rd try for the Bison. Screen pass. Crockett, there's a first down, and he's got more. Into the open field, tackled inside the Sam Houston 40-yard line. It's a gain of 30. Last week, he was all about big plays.
Well, this is either a lucky call or it's good scouting, and it was the perfect call against pressure. The edge pressure, that's Michael Wade, the safety, coming off the slot, and you throw a screen to Crockett over the top of that. Perfect call for that situation, and once again, you see the MO for Sam Houston State. It's pressure and more pressure.
This is Chase Morlock. No, it's a throw. Wentz throwing far side and completes to Kerry Woods. Woods doesn't get up. You got to remember, Woods getting the start in place of Zach Vraw, the top wide receiver. The Bison don't have many bodies down there.
No, and it's not an exceptionally talented group anyway. I think they're down on the perimeter coming into this season when you compare it to the last 3 national championship teams. I think they're still looking for playmakers outside, and Vraw was that proven vertical guy. And when you take him out of that play-action passing game, you have the freshman in Urgandowski that has shown up in a huge way ever since summer training camp. But Woods was that guy that they were looking to step up and have an impact.
You know, Kelly, prior to the last 2 plays, we saw something we don't see often. North Dakota State offensively was losing the battle up front.
Yeah, we don't see that very often. You're exactly right, and that's kind of the game within the game. North Dakota State plays in a conference, the Missouri Valley Conference, that prides themselves on being the most physical FCS conference in the country, and at the middle of all of that is this Bison program. And so that's what you have to withstand when you come into this place and play this team. And the question is, when Sam Houston State gets punched, what's their response going to be? Right now, it's a pretty darn good response.
And this doesn't look good for Kerry Woods, sophomore wideout from Bemidji. Last week, he really stepped up with Vraw out, a team-high 4 catches for 48 yards. Coming into that game, he had 9 catches on the entire season.
And certainly concerned fans here anytime a player gets hurt, and the cart is coming out as we speak. And to me, it looked like he took one on the lower back when he caught that football. And nonetheless, they're going to cart him off. And it's certainly all about the young man's health to begin with. And then the role that he plays on this team right now, we just talked about that. They're thin and thinner right now with vertical perimeter threats in that play-action pass game.
Timeout on the field.
The training staff continues to work on Woods. We step aside. 6:53 to go in the first. Alongside Kelly Stauffer and Ish Schroff, we're at the Fargo Dome here in North Dakota. And the Bison of North Dakota State, the 3-time defending champion, driving against Sam Houston State. And right now, Kerry Woods, the sophomore receiver for the Bison, being attended to. Took a hard hit after a 9-yard reception, and the cart is out on the field. Let's take a look at the replay. Let's see if we can find out where he got hit.
Well, the initial hit was to the outside of the leg, kind of the upper thigh, and right there, that was a pretty vicious hit. But it's this right here that just bent Woods in just a bad way, and it's hard to tell what took place. But again, the concern you see there by the fans, but schematically, it really puts North Dakota State behind the 8 ball in their play-action passing game.
Again, the Bison already playing without their top wide receiver, Zach Vraw. In fact, Woods was starting in place of Vraw, who's out with a hamstring injury. Now, unlike a lot of the teams you see in today's day and age with the 4 wide receiver spread looks, North Dakota State isn't one of them. They'll line up in your traditional I formation looks with 2 wideouts, but they occasionally do go to 3 and 4. We could maybe see more tight end, more double tight end looks now.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, and I think North Dakota State would like to go to 3-4 wides because of the way Sam Houston State is playing them defensively currently. They are loading the box, and what you want to do against that is spread it out and try to thin out that defense, and that's actually what we saw North Dakota State getting to, but it may be on hold now because of the injury to Kerry Woods.
We'll try to get an update on the severity of the injury as soon as we can. It's 2nd and 1 for the Bison. The ball inside the 30-yard line of the Bearcats. 6:53 to go, opening quarter.
2nd and 1.
3rd drive of the game for North Dakota State. First time anyone got a first down happened on this drive. King Frazier, the Nebraska transfer, in the backfield alongside Chase Morlock. One high safety look here for the Bearcats. Another blitz. Wentz gets rid of it quickly, and that's going to be a first down for North Dakota State. It's caught by the tight end, Vodland, a gain of 7.
And that's the tight end you talked about, Anish.
That's another Bison!
Tight ends are going to be more active because North Dakota State is really thin outside, but Vodland's a pretty decent target himself. 6'4", 250 in the play-action passing game in the middle of the field against the way Sam Houston State needs to play here this evening.
Another 2 tight end look. Crockett was looking to throw it. Now he'll run it inside the 20, down inside at the 18-yard line. It's a gain of 9. He's about a yard shy of another Bison first down.
And Crockett was actually throwing this back to Wentz. Watch the quarterback working through traffic. He gets caught up right there. There was a post over the top, and then the quarterback was coming out and running a wheel route. He got caught up in traffic, and then Crockett shows his speed and athleticism to get a lot out of that play.
Wentz does have one touchdown catch this season. Play action on second and short. Wentz rolling to his right, dumps it off, and it's a first down and goal for North Dakota State. Andrew Bonnet, the all-conference fullback, with a gain of 9.
Kind of a rule of thumb is good offenses have something they can rely on. Great offenses have something they can go to when the defense takes away their bread and butter. And that's what Sam Houston State is doing right now. We're going to sell out against the run at all costs. So what do you see out of North Dakota State? Play action passing game, booting their quarterback and going to that really quickly in this game.
Here's a 4-wide or a 5-wide look. Look out for the draw here from the Bison. There it is, quarterback draw. Wentz bullies inside the 5-yard line, and he's to the 3. It's a gain of 2.
Yeah, and Wentz could have been a little bit more patient. You had it diagnosed, Anish. Empty in the red zone, especially deep in the red zone, a lot of times means quarterback draw, but you have to set that up. Allow your offensive linemen to get their blocks and get their angles, and you can do that as a quarterback by hesitating a little bit instead of just running right into their backs.
Trevor Gebhardt motions across. Here's Crockett, gets a seam, and North Dakota State strikes first.
Well, North Dakota State finishes like you would think they would with power football. Sear, the fullback, leading Crockett up inside, but it's the way they got down there that's important. Sam Houston State loading up the box against that power run. The play action passing game allows the Bison to get the football down the field.
Point after by Adam Keller is good for Crockett, his 18th rushing touchdown of the season.
There were a few firm punches thrown on that drive. Now it'll be up to Sam Houston State to respond properly.
The college football playoff kicks off on New Year's Day with back-to-back semifinal games on ESPN. Number 2 Oregon, number 3 Florida State. That's the Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. And then that's followed by Alabama and Ohio State in the All-State Sugar Bowl. You made the comparison earlier, North Dakota State to Florida State, 2 defending champions that have had to work a little harder this season.
Yeah, and you know, Florida State has gotten a lot of grief for that by just not going out and dominating the field for the second year in a row. But the thing that they learned last year and in the past in that program is how to win football games, particularly their quarterback knows how to win. And we're seeing that at North Dakota State. They're not a dominating team, but they have enough veterans that have been there, done that. They can teach the new guys, but the tradition here says, you know, when the game's on the line, we think we're the team to beat, and they might be right.
Tom Barneson handling kickoff duties for North Dakota State with Ben LeCompte banged up. And Gerald Thomas won't have a chance here. Bearcat ball at their own 25-yard line. There is a flag on the play. It's at the 21-yard line.
Yeah, there was a little John and maybe a little extracurricular activities going on well after that play.
After the play, personal foul. 47 against the receiving team. After this, it's for the goal. First down.
That's on Josh Lyons, who had a block punt against Villanova last week. A lot of history between Sam Houston State and North Dakota State. They met in the championship game in 2 of the last 3 seasons. The Bison winning both times. Following the 2011 season, the championship game was played in Frisco in 2012. The game really turned on a fake punt, and North Dakota State would go on for a 17-6 win. The following season, a third quarter holding call wiped out a 37-yard touchdown run by the Bearcats. That would have given Sam Houston State the lead. Instead, the Bison rolled in the second half and took it 39-13. Keyshawn Hill ambushed back at the 9-yard line by Jordan Champion, the cornerback. Big loss on the play, and it's second and long.
Let's talk a little bit about what Sam Houston State wants to do offensively. They actually, early in the year, wanted to be like Baylor, Texas Tech. A spread, up-tempo, pass it first, run it second team, but they transitioned to more of a run team as of late.
Hill trying to get to the outside, tackled by the ankles from behind. It's the middle linebacker, Nick DeLuca.
North Dakota State, Anish, wanted to do just this. Force some tackles for loss, get this team behind the sticks, and then force Jared Johnson to read the defense in their pass game. Their pass game is primarily a quick release type of game. Longer down in distance, he has to hold it and go through his progressions. They think they can force him into some mistakes.
It's getting loud. Quarterback draw. Johnson looking for room. Breaks free. Johnson picks up a first down for the Bearcats. A gain of 19. Great patience that time by the sophomore.
But North Dakota State was in prime position last week and missed a lot of tackles.
Going quickly after the first down of the game for Sam Houston. And that's Yedidiah Lewis. She goes by Yeti, a freshman who walked onto the team last year, earned a scholarship, and he's the leading receiver on a team that's stocked with FBS transfers in the receiving corps. Leading receiver in terms of receptions. Speed option. This is Hill. He plows ahead for a first down. He's to the 37-yard line. Knocked out of bounds by C.J. Smith. Keyshawn Hill, first team All-Southland Conference. One of the impact players for Sam Houston.
Yeah, Hill is the complete back, and Brown is the matchup waiting to happen. We've already seen Emmanuel, and Hegel is also a safety that's going to be down around the line of scrimmage a lot this evening.
That's Donovan Williams, first carry of the game for the junior, and he picks up a couple.
We've already heard from Kyle Emmanuel, number 53. Defensive end is very active early in this one, and then Hegel is a safety, but he's going to play nickel and play in the box a lot here this evening to get a run fit.
Johnson will keep it, met right at the point of attack, and there is Emmanuel, the best defensive player in the nation.
Well, the theory behind the quarterback zone read scheme is you can block guys like number 53 Emmanuel, or you can read him. But if the quarterback doesn't read Emmanuel better than he did on that play, it doesn't really matter what you do. This crowd is getting cranked up once again.
It's a major X factor. Johnson on third down. And that's caught by Derek Edwards. He's a transfer from Texas Tech. You're going to hear us say that a lot. A transfer from said FBS school.
That was a great job of Edwards keeping the route alive, but what a tremendous throw by Jared Johnson. Hegel was right underneath that. He put it a little bit high and outside and threw it right in there to Edwards.
Bearcat offense in rhythm for the first time tonight. Play action. Pressure. Johnson on the run. Finds Hill on the check down, and he dropped it.
Great decision by the quarterback. Bad finish by Hill. Wasn't anything down the field. There was early pressure. Johnson steps outside of it. Kept his eyes down the field, but came to his check down, and Hill just didn't look it into his hands.
This is the 10th play of the drive. And Hill stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Brian Schatz the first to meet him. And that might be the final play of the first quarter. There's our decibel meter reader.
That'll be well over 100 before the evening's out, I believe, Anish. Isn't that where we were getting last week? 101, 102?
This place holds about 18,000. They have the uncanny ability to make you think there's about 50,000 in here. We've played one in Fargo. 7-0. Champs on top. The decibel level has reached 102 tonight. So think of putting the sound of a chainsaw to your ear.
Look at Arrowhead right there. That would make your ears bleed, wouldn't it?
That's the loudest it's ever gotten at a football game.
I've been to rock concerts that are louder than that.
No, you haven't.
You're right.
You don't even have. You don't even have an iPod.
You're right. I've never been to a rock concert, let alone a loud one.
Johnson throwing downfield on third down. That's caught. Gerald Thomas makes the catch inside the 15-yard line, marked down at the 11. It's a 39-yard gain on 3rd and 10.
North Dakota State was rolling out of their traditional Tampa two-deep coverage, and they were single high safety, man-to-man underneath, and Johnson made him pay for it.
Hill looking for some room, and he squirts ahead to the 8-yard line. It'll bring up 2nd down and 7.
Anish, remember we talked about earlier that the first solid punch by North Dakota State was thrown the last drive, and how about the response for Sam Houston State currently?
You said the Bison had to throw haymakers. This is a pretty good counterpunch. Johnson to the outside, and he's tackled from behind by the All-American safety Colton Heagle, who is making his 60th career start. And in the games he started, Kelly, he is 56-3.
Wow. That is amazing.
It's not a bad college career. 14th play of the drive, 3rd down. Johnson throwing for the end zone, incomplete. And there was only green in that area. So Sam Houston State will call on its kicking game. They've got a very good kicker, Luke Swimberga, 17 out of 19 on the season. And he was 2 for 2 last week, and he's perfect inside 40 this year.
But that's a prototypical finish to a drive for North Dakota State defensively. Is they get you off the field on 3rd down. If they can't do that, they don't let you score touchdowns. At only 53% touchdowns when you get down there in the red zone against this Bison defense.
And I wonder what that number is here at the Fargo Dome. Kick by Swimberga is good, and Sam Houston State on the board after a 15-play, 82-yard drive. The big play, the 39-yard connection from Johnson to Thomas. Bearcats in business. Trying to join some pretty prestigious company. Only 2 other FCS programs have ever played in 4 consecutive FCS championship games. Eastern Kentucky did it from 1979 to 82. Roy Kidd was the head coach. Youngstown State did it with Jim Tressel as its head coach. Tressel now the school president. And oh, by the way, you're a Nebraska guy. What did you make of Youngstown State and Tressel hiring Bo Pelini as the next head coach?
It will be an interesting match because, you know, Tressel is so prim and proper, and Pelini maybe not so much. I actually thought Bo Pelini would take a fairly high-profile defensive coordinator position
Yeah.
before he went back to being a head coach, but he is going home. I think that's certainly the incentive.
Thinking maybe the Will Muschamp route. You see Pelini from Youngstown, Ohio, played at Ohio State, got a master's degree from Ohio. Here's Perkins from the 8. Eric Perkins across the 25. And finally met up near the 30-yard line. Let's go back to that last touchdown drive for the Bearcats.
You remember, it was 3rd and 10, and typically North Dakota State plays with 2 high safeties. In this case, they're going to rotate and spin down, which means man-to-man over here. Jordan Champion matched up on Gerald Thomas, and Thomas wins, and Jared Johnson throws an absolute BB down there. 2 high safeties is primarily what you get out of North Dakota State, but sometimes they will spin down to a 1 high look, and Sam Houston State took full advantage of it on that play.
Bison lining up with 2 tight ends. John Crockett on first down, and he doesn't get much room. A gain of only about 2. Mike Chapman, the Baylor transfer, with the tackle.
Yeah, and look for offensive coordinator Tim Polasek to run a lot of play action once again. Sam Houston State is priority number 1 is at all costs we have to take away the power run game, which means extra bodies in the box, which means opportunities out here and out here as well.
Wentz with time, and that's too high. He wanted Gebhardt. It'll bring up 3rd and 8. Covered that time by Mikael Everett.
Everett had great coverage. It was really kind of a trail technique, bump and run, and ran with him, and it was 0 separation. Although if that ball would have been thrown on time and on target, there was an opportunity to still complete that football.
Last week, the Bison 7 of 13 on 3rd downs, 1 for 3 so far. 49% on the season. Here's the pressure. Screen pass. Sam Houston State all over it. Andrew Bonnet gobbled up right at the line of scrimmage. It'll bring up 4th down.
North Dakota State, once again, Anish, was anticipating the pressure, and they anticipated correctly through the screen inside, but just was very well defended by Sam Houston State.
Ben Lecomte down to punt it away. Thomas, the deep man. This is an aggressive special teams unit. Thomas from his own 19-yard line. Goes back, now turns upfield, tackled at the 20, a 1-yard return after a 48-yard punt. Gerald Thomas transferred to Sam Houston State from Colorado. That is a common theme for this 2014 Bearcat team. 18 FBS transfers on the roster, and what's really amazing is a lot of these guys didn't play in the spring. They opened the season with talented kids,
That's amazing.
but guys who never played together, and essentially K.C. Keeler used a scheduling quirk where he had 2 bye weeks sandwiched around a game. That was a second training camp, and that was to build chemistry, and that's what helped this team get to the point where they're at now. Donovan Williams across the 25-yard line to the 27. Give him 7. 2nd down and 3. It's tough to build chemistry overnight, even if you have talent. Screen pass to Hill. He gets a block. Hill run out of bounds after he picks up a Bearcat 1st down. C.J. Smith with the stop.
Well, you talked about the chemistry situation. The amazing thing to me is 4 guys, as we see the bubble screen outside, attacking that overhang defender again, and we will talk more about the overhang defender here shortly.
Johnson hit in the backfield, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage. DeLuca on the stop.
There were 4 starters against Eastern Washington to begin the year that participated in spring ball. That is unheard of, and you have a new staff, a new offense, and they just simply didn't know each other very well. They know each other well now, and they're playing like it.
Johnson's pass caught by Brown. Spins back toward midfield, a gain of 15. Again, C.J. Smith with the tackle. K.C. Keeler basically told us the guys on the team who were on the field together didn't know each other's names. Jedediah Lewis. And he's knocked out at the 43-yard line of North Dakota State. Christian Dudzik with the tackle.
And Lewis needs to thank number 4, Edwards, because the defender was going to blow him up, but Edwards had a really good block to allow Lewis to get around the edge.
Quarterback draw. Here's Johnson. And he's tripped up after a gain of 8 yards, another first down. And really in this environment, you've got to admire the Bearcats' counterpunch.
And that's their number 1 run play, is the quarterback draw. They get to it in a lot of different ways, but number 15 carrying the football has worked well for this team offensively.
38 rushing yards for Jared Johnson. Here's the Texas transfer, Jalen Overstreet. He had the game-winning touchdown run last week against Villanova. And he is your bruising back.
Oh, yeah, he was in Texas for a reason. 6'2", 212 pounds, and has very, very good vertical speed.
He was recruited by Arkansas, Baylor, and Michigan. Johnson throws it downfield, incomplete. Gerald Thomas dove for it, just couldn't get there.
And Thomas had a chance. It was the play action actually after Johnson looked like he was going to run a quarterback draw, as we have a Sam Houston State offensive lineman down on the play.
It's the right tackle, Brandon DeWitt. A second-team All-Southland Conference selection. And he's one of the anchors on this O-line. This is his 28th consecutive start, and he's holding that left leg.
Yeah, one of 3 returning starters up front, Anish, and that's what they had. 3 starters up front, of which DeWitt was one of those returners. 3 very good running backs and a stable of wide receivers, and they needed Jared Johnson to come into his own, and he did that after that 4th game, and they kind of tweaked his technique. They didn't kind of tweak it. They tweaked it a great deal, and he's been a different quarterback ever since.
DeWitt helped off. Let's take a look at that last pass to Thomas.
Yeah, Gerald Thomas made a nice attempt, but the ball does go right through his hands, and you can see the pressure by Kyle Emanuel on the end, and the quarterback actually goes into Brandon DeWitt's knee. Not a deep offensive line, and that's one of the starters that's leaving right there.
3rd and 4. This is a spot, again, where Sam Houston State likes the quarterback draw.
You're exactly right. That's their number 1 play, is the quarterback draw.
There it is. And Johnson got about a ½ yard, so it's 4th down. And Swinberga is going to come on for a long field goal attempt. It'll be a 45-yarder. We are indoors. And you're talking about one of the best kickers in the Southland Conference.
And I was told before the game, even though he hasn't attempted one over 50 yards, he felt good in the dome up to 55 yards. It'll be interesting to see if he gets that opportunity. Remember, DeWitt went out, the offensive lineman, and his backup didn't know he was supposed to be in the game.
This is a 46-yarder, his season-long 44. And he yanked it. A couple of missed opportunities for Sam Houston State. Gerald Thomas couldn't haul one in the end zone, and then a missed field goal. You can watch the FCS championships on the ESPN networks. Also make sure to log on to NCAA.com for all the latest on the championships. And don't forget, the championship game will air live on ESPN2 January 10th at 1 Eastern. For more information, log on to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 89 NCAA championships. What jumps out to you here for me? It's time of possession.
Absolutely, right here. But also, defenses are winning. Offenses are being funneled to third and long, and they're not getting off the field. Time of possession is huge because typically North Dakota State just wears people out by the fourth quarter.
It's a stat. It's big for the Bison, not so much for a tempo team like the Bearcats. Play action. Wentz checks down, finds Bonnet, and he skips out of bounds. A gain of 4. North Dakota State this season ranking second nationally in time of possession. In fact, they had a game against Indiana State this year where they held the ball for more than 41 minutes.
Remember, their style is an old school power type of game. And they play old school defensively as well. Defend third down well, defend the red zone well, but it's the power offense on this side of the ball.
Corner blitz could be coming. Play action. Wentz in trouble, and he's sacked by Moof Adebo. The ball pops out, but the Bison able to cover it up.
Sam Houston State is not being bashful defensively. Mike Collins said he was going to get after him, and that's really their MO anyway. And you can see Adebo gets pressure late, but they were also coming off the corner in the form of Orr. Trey Orr was coming off the boundary corner as well, and that's nothing new for this team. That's their identity defensively. Sam Houston State gets after you out of their 4-2-5 alignment.
It's the Bison's 15th game of the season, and that was just the 15th sack allowed. Wentz with time over the middle, and that's a first down. Isaiah Franson makes the catch as North Dakota State dipping into its reservoir of wide receivers.
Franson is kind of late getting into it, but he does a nice job of crossing the defender's face and getting into that void in that man-to-man in the middle. You have to cross the face and then create some separation, but the good protection in the pocket is what made that happen.
And that is the first career reception for Franson.
We see those wide receivers that haven't gotten a lot of playing time are getting some reps here this evening.
They have to. Zach Vraw out with a hamstring injury. His replacement, Kerry Woods, was carted off earlier in this game. And a flag.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Fifth down.
Not something you see from the Bison in this building.
Yeah, they are not very penalized, and it's part of their DNA here. That's how they win championships. They don't give up sacks. They don't make a lot of mistakes. You don't see penalties show up a whole lot. So, yeah, that's highly unusual, a sack and a penalty on the same drive.
Now, these are the ideal situations for this Bearcat defense. Passing downs, get the offense behind schedule, and unleash the pressure. Crockett with the cutback. And he plows ahead across the 45 for a gain of 7. Michael Wade, the all-conference safety, with the tackle.
We talked about that number 2, Michael Wade, is going to be down from his safety position around the line of scrimmage a lot. And we could see it on that play. But how about Crockett? I mean, that run was all out of design, or outside of the design. It was power to one side, but it was the vision to get him back to the right side.
Out of the ace formation, Crockett again. And he'll try the middle. He's to the 49-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd and 6.
And a little bit of change up in the run game for North Dakota State. The last 2 plays were actually more of a straight up zone run inside, not the power. Sam Houston State has defended the power well thus far this evening, but now it's more of a just get into the defensive line in that zone scheme and then let Crockett create some separation and some yards on his own with his vision.
Blitz off the edge. That is way over the head of R.J. Urzendowski, the freshman. He felt there was some contact, but no flag.
And Michael Wade on the coverage outside on Urzendowski. We saw Michael Wade getting down to the line of scrimmage in a physical tackle. That time he's defending the slot and actually pretty decent coverage. There was a lot of contact, but today in college football, they let a lot of that go on.
Fourth punt of the game for the Bison. They had just 3 in the quarterfinal win against Coastal Carolina, and that is a beauty by Ben Lecomte.
Timeout on the field.
North Dakota State with a 7-3 lead, 4:14 to go here in the first half. Fargo's becoming popular with her friends at game day.
Hey, thanks, Fargo. Hey, I'm ready to go to the Fargo Dome.
The 2014 NCAA FCS Football Championship is brought to you by Verizon XLTE on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network, and Domino's. Visit Domino's.com.
College game day came to Fargo back in September. Second straight year game day set up shop in downtown Fargo. Game day senior coordinating producer Lee Fitting called the Bison a big part of the fabric of college football right now, and he's absolutely right. You win 3 straight championships. This has become the most recognizable brand in the FCS. And Chris Kleiman told us last week they're now starting to recruit not just against other FCS powers, but low-level MAC and Mountain West schools.
You show up on game day a few times, you can get away with that.
Jared Johnson takes it out to the 20-yard line, and he's got a first down for the Bearcats. Johnson's flashed a little bit of everything. That power run game. He's made some pretty good throws. He'll drop for a loss of a yard. Nick DeLuca's had a big first half for North Dakota State.
Yeah, DeLuca is a nice-looking athlete. He's 6'3", 240 pounds, plays a middle linebacker position, and when Travis Beck went down, they had to move Carlton Littlejohn out to the weak side, and DeLuca stepped in a physical downhill tackler.
Beck was actually the MVP of that 2011 championship game against these Bearcats. On third down, that's caught. It's the running back Keyshawn Hill. It's a gain of 8.
That was
on second down. So
that was a nice decision by Gerald Johnson to get him in third and manageable. Nothing down the field. They had an over route and a deep post route. He came off late out in the flats, and now this down looks a lot better than it did at 3rd and 7 or more. Quarterback run game is always on the table for this offense.
Edge pressure. Johnson in trouble, and down he goes. Brian Schatz and the All-American Kyle Emanuel.
And you talked about it also, Anish, coming off the edge as well.
First yard timeout.
North Dakota State did not think they would play a lot of man-to-man on the back end because of the athletes that Sam Houston State has on the perimeter, but that time they just brought the house. Single high safety, man-to-man all over the field.
2:35 to go first half. We check in with Chris Cotter.
Manish, Kelly, coming up at the half. Robert Smith will join me. We'll talk about the Division III National Championship tonight. It's Wisconsin Whitewater and Mountain Union again, and it's close over on ESPNU, so we'll give you some highlights. We'll hear from Jameis Winston as he gets set to prepare for the Rose Bowl, and we're going to go bowling. It all starts tomorrow, 11 a.m. We'll preview Saturday's games. It's coming up at the half. Manish?
Thank you, Chris. That's why I took the 5 a.m. flight back home tomorrow morning. Can watch all the bowl games. Be home by 10:30.
That's not a bad idea. I thought you were getting home to Faye.
There's that too. Fair catch signal by C.J. Smith after a 43-yard punt. 2:28 to go here in the first half. And Capital One Bowl Mania does kick off on Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Nevada, Louisiana Lafayette, and the Arnell Carriers New Orleans Bowl. That's followed up by Utah State and UTEP in the Gildan, New Mexico Bowl. And then at 3:30 on ABC, Utah takes on Kelly's alma mater, Colorado State, in the Royal Purple Las Vegas Bowl. What do the Rams do now for a new head coach now that Jim McElwain is over in Gainesville?
Yeah, McElwain went to Florida. Dave Baldwin, the OC, will coach this game. But beyond that, it's anyone's guess at this point.
They might be getting a new stadium as well.
Absolutely. The president approved it.
Carson Wentz, quarterback draw. Wentz with the hurdle. He's to the 41-yard line, tripped up by Eshe. We were told last week when NFL scouts came to Fargo, a lot of the coaching staff assumed they came for Kyle Emanuel, but one of them told head coach Chris Kleiman, you know who your best prospect is? It's your 6'6", 230-pound quarterback.
Yeah, he's impressive. There's no doubt about that. Great skill set.
Crockett lost the football. Able to recover it. No gain. It'll bring up third down. Clock continues to run as we come up on 1:40 here in the first half.
Crockett is so good at getting to the cutback. Look at the offensive lineman kind of wash the defensive line by, and then Crockett's trying to get back to the right. Great vision, but he has to secure that football. They were very fortunate to have the right bounce right there.
Neither team has turned the ball over in each of its last two contests. Bison bleeding the play clock here on third down. Down to 1. Wentz gets it off. He's in trouble, and he's sacked. P.J. Hall was back there, and so was Darian Flowers.
Defensive coordinator Mike Collins can do this because he's very comfortable with the back end right now. You can see the pressure by P.J. Hall, and Flowers gets there also. We have a timeout on the field, but it's the matchup on the back end that Mike Collins feels very good about. So pressure man-to-man on the back end, and they're holding up very well so far.
2 sacks by Sam Houston State. We told you coming into the game the Bison had given up just 14 all season. That's 1 a game.
Look at the coverage on the back end. I mean, it's man-to-man, quick-hitting routes, but press man coverage and no separation, and it allows the pressure to get to Wentz on the back end.
And Kelly, if you're the Bearcats, you know the Bison right now decimated at wide receiver.
Great point.
That might be a pretty good MO the rest of the way.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a great point. That's exactly why I think they're very comfortable with their matchup in coverage right now.
LeCompte gets this one off. Takes a bounce at the 25-yard line. It's a Bison bounce. It'll roll inside the 15. And it'll be down at the 12-yard line. 46 seconds to go in what has been a first half dominated by defense. The winner of this game moves on to the FCS championship game. The Bearcats ride in on an 8-game win streak. We told you earlier they started the season 1-3. That included a loss to a Division II team, not just any D2 team. Colorado State Pueblo is actually playing for the Division II championship. North Dakota State almost unbeatable here at the Fargo Dome, and the winner of this game will face either New Hampshire or Illinois State in Frisco on January 10th for the FCS title. And New Hampshire Illinois State game tomorrow at 2 Eastern on ESPNU. Johnson pumps, he's in trouble, and he's corralled for a loss of a yard. That's Brian Schatz again, the defensive tackle. He's had a nice first half. The defensive line, the interior of that unit, probably one of the weaker points on this Bison defense. But Schatz has played well. Now the run play. It's Keyshawn Hill. And let's see if Sam Houston just takes this to halftime. Casey Keeler will. He's got to like the effort from his defense in that first half. A couple of missed opportunities to get some more points. And we told you about the resolve and the championship pedigree of North Dakota State. Three-time champs, 1 half away from getting back to Frisco. Time now for the college football halftime report. We go to the studio. Here's Chris Cotter. Welcome back to the NCAA FCS Football Championship presented by Northwestern Mutual. The first of 2 semifinal games here in the FCS playoffs. 3-time defending champion North Dakota State leading Sam Houston State 7-3 after 30 minutes of play. The winner of this game will take on the winner of Illinois State and New Hampshire in the championship game in Frisco, Texas on January 10th. Alongside Kelly Stauffer and Anish Shroff, low-scoring first half. What were your big takeaways?
Sam Houston State has a really, really good defensive game plan. They got better because of the lack of perimeter receivers, I think, for North Dakota State. Mike Collins says they're going to load up the box, stop the run, and there is no step 2. So far, so good for Sam Houston State.
There have been some missed opportunities in this game, and they've been on both ends. Jared Johnson nearly connected with Ladarius Brown. If he underthrows that just a little, that's probably a touchdown. Maybe the same here with Carson Wentz and Kevin Vodland. And Gerald Thomas, it was a tough catch. It goes through his hands, and then a field goal hooked wide. 7-3 at the half.
You know, Anish, the thing that we see in those highlights, both defenses are pressuring the line of scrimmage because of the run game for both teams. The reputation for both teams has been great productivity in the run game. Sell out versus run and hope the quarterback doesn't hit the ball over the middle of the plate in that passing game.
Both of these teams have had to come back in the postseason. In fact, Sam Houston State has rallied from a second half deficit in all 3 of its playoff wins. The Bison have rallied from a fourth quarter deficit in each of the last 2 weeks. As Eric Perkins takes it out to the 20-yard line, a 14-yard return. And North Dakota State on offense to start the second half. The Bison put up just 99 yards of total offense in that first half. That is in stark contrast to what we saw right here a week ago.
If you don't own the line of scrimmage in that power run game, what does North Dakota State go to? And I know they want to throw the ball, play action pass and throw it deep, but their vertical threats are few and far between right now in that wide receiver group.
Zach Vraw did not play. He's out with a hamstring injury. He's missing his 2nd straight game. Kerry Woods carted off the field in the first half. We're told he's at a nearby hospital. He has no loss of feeling, so that's a good sign, but he won't return. There's Darius Anderson, and he's to the 24-yard line, a gain of 4. Anderson's a guy who sometimes gets some run on those fly sweeps, jet sweeps, and you said it, they need perimeter playmakers.
That's it right there. That's exactly right. That's one of the early adjustments is the fly sweep, the quick motion, and give someone that's a playmaker the ball out in space, particularly that opportunity to get out on the edge, and that's what we saw right there.
Again, the Bearcats load the box. Wentz, quick drop, finds Gebhardt. He's got nowhere to go. Tackled immediately by Trey Orr, the first-team all-conference corner who transferred from Cincinnati.
Sam Houston State gained a lot of confidence on the back end in coverage in that first half, and that was really the game plan. Load the box, get Michael Wade, the free safety, who's a very good physical tackler, get him up in the box, be willing to press man outside, bring extra bodies, force Carson Wentz to make quicker decisions, and take away, first thing, take away that power run game.
Gebhardt in motion. Here's Crockett. He's tackled from behind by P.J. Hall. Only a yard on the play, and it's going to be 4th down. So the Bison 3 and out to start the second half. And again, a strong showing by the Sam Houston defense.
Yeah, we just saw Siani Latu coming off the field right there, and he's the 3 technique. That's one of those guys up front that has to hold the fort. And Jacoby Hunter, the big guy at 6'1", 323, is also a guy that has been doing a great job at the point of attack.
Ben Lecomte on to punt it away. It's partially blocked. And it goes out of bounds near midfield. Let's see where they mark it out. Josh Lyons blocked the punt. He had a blocked punt last week.
Denisha, I think they're ruling that he did not actually get the ball.
Well, it's going to be roughing the kicker, and Ben Lecomte is down. He already came into this game nursing a quad injury.
Yeah, and he landed right on his back, and it did not look pretty. But you talked about Josh Lyons getting the pressure, and I don't think he got part of that football, and he went right through the punter. This is why you protect punters. They're fully exposed, and he goes right down to his back, and not only did his back get whacked on the ground, but remember that quad.
I thought he may have gotten a hand on it. And Lecomte, make no mistake, you're talking about one of the best punters, if not the best punter in the FCS. If he can't return, that's a major loss in a game that's so far being decided by defense and field position.
Yeah, that's a staple for this team, how they win championships. Field position is huge for them. Play really good defense, a power run game, and own field position and time of possession.
So after the roughing the kicker penalty, it's a 1st down for the Bison at their own 43. Low snap. Wentz will run. Dives ahead to the 48-yard line, a gain of 5. 2nd down and 5.
One of our keys to success was the fact that Sam Houston State had to play clean. They were heavily penalized early in the year, 9+ penalties through that 1-3 streak. But after that, they turned it around and had less than 4 per game. And that last penalty of roughing the punter was a big one here early in this second half.
When these two teams met in the championship game, a couple of key plays turned each game. It was the block punt, or the fake punt rather, in the first title game, and then a holding call that negated a Sam Houston State touchdown in that second title game, as Crockett picks up a yard.
Sam Houston State is still daring North Dakota State to throw the football in the play-action passing game. They're loading guys down to the box. Look at one high safety, man-to-man across the board, and multiple bodies down in that box, and that's the game plan. It worked really well in that first half. We'll see if they can hold up here in the second half.
Wentz over the middle, and is that intercepted? It is. Mikel Everett with the pick, the first turnover of the game, and the Bearcats get the ball back.
Francis was coming on the in route, and Everett actually beat him to his spot. Man-to-man down inside, and 81 Francis is trying to cross the face of Everett and just couldn't get there. There was a little bit of hold out of that break, but all in all, exceptional coverage out of Mikel Everett.
Mikel Everett, his 4th interception of the season, had a pick against Jacksonville State in the second round of the playoffs. And now Sam Houston from its own 39-yard line. Jared Johnson and the offense go to work. And movement on that right side. All signs point to number 70.
Ball start. Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Casey DeVries, number 70, is in for the injured Brandon DeWitt. Remember, Brandon went down in that first half. The quarterback got knocked down into DeWitt's knees, and the backup Casey Debritz gets called for the move that time.
Speed option. Keyshawn Hill tripped up shy of the original line of scrimmage. He gets 3 back, 2nd and a dozen.
We've seen a lot of the quarterback run game, and the speed option is essentially the zone stretch for this team offensively. The quarterback takes it to the edge, the in man on the line of scrimmage keeps it or pitches it, but it's their way to get to the edge instantly.
Quick screen. That's Lewis. He's to the 42-yard line, a gain of 5. It'll bring up 3rd down. Jared Johnson, the trigger man for this Bearcat offense. He's a kid who originally committed to Baylor out of high school. The Bears pulled his scholarship and ended up signing with Sam Houston State in the spring of his senior year. Quarterback drawn, 3rd down. We've seen that a lot. And it's no gain for Johnson. So off the turnover, Sam Houston State goes 3 and out.
North Dakota State had the upper hand that series, and that particular play, they certainly anticipated Johnson keeping the football. We've seen that multiple times here this evening, but it was also how late North Dakota State went to that pressure look.
I wonder if the Bearcats take some more shots downfield in this second half. They were close on a few.
Oh, rest assured they will. There's no doubt.
Good kick by Donovan. Smith makes the fair catch at the 10-yard line. A 48-yard punt, no return.
On the field.
Missed opportunities for both teams. A fresh set of downs for the Bison after a roughing the kicker call, but it led to an interception. Bearcats unable to capitalize on the hit.
His success.
North Dakota State wins the Division I football championship.
And succession.
Chris Kleiman, first season at the helm.
Change and continuity.
Touchdown! What a play!
It's carrying the torch and passing it and carrying it again.
And the tradition of the Bison lives on.
It is the definition of a dynasty.
It has been a remarkable 3-year run by the Bison. And at home, this team is almost indomitable in the postseason. The last home postseason loss, Division II, first round, 1991 against Minnesota Mankato. This Bison team 56-3 since the start of the 2011 season. John Crockett on 1st down across the 20 and tackled at the 25-yard line, and that's been the best run of the afternoon or the evening for North Dakota State.
North Dakota State wants to run into the boundary because Sam Houston State has a habit of putting their buck position player, which is Darian Flowers most of the time, to the field, regardless of the formation, and it actually at times leaves Sam Houston State outmanned into the boundary. North Dakota State is going to try to take that advantage of that going this direction.
Wentz will keep it. Now the zone read, he's to the 31-yard line, a pickup of 6. 2nd down.
And Danish, what you're seeing out of North Dakota State offensively is they still want to run the football. It's just a matter of how they get there. We saw the run into the boundary, trying to take advantage of Sam Houston State being overloaded to the field, and then more of the quarterback designed runs here in the second half is probably what we're going to see.
Bison averaging a little more than 2.5 yards per carry.
Unheard of.
On the season, they're more than double that. Wentz downfield, receiver open, it's Brandon. Make it Crockett for a gain of 36.
Urzendowski was running the post outside, and Crockett runs the wheel route out of the backfield. You can see him sneaking out to the right, right down the numbers after Urzendowski takes his safety inside. very well designed and just another way to try to create an explosive play with Sam Houston State loading the box against North Dakota State's run.
It's been a creative offensive approach for North Dakota State today. King Frazier breaks free! Frazier to the house! Longest run of the season for King Frazier.
And it was a change-up run. It wasn't the prototypical Bison power. It was a zone up inside, and give Crockett, your best carrier of the football, actually Frazier in this case, the opportunity to make a play with his eyes.
A 33-yard touchdown. Point after by Adam Keller is good, and North Dakota State has a 2-score lead with 7:34 to go in the third. King Frazier found a hole, broke a tackle, and the Bison up by 11. Jensen, touchdown, Bison. North Dakota State has won its third straight FCS championship. A 4-play, 90-yard drive capped by a 33-yard touchdown run by King Frazier has given North Dakota State a 14-3 lead. A 33-yard run by Frazier. More yards than the Bison had rushing in the entire first half.
And North Dakota State will pound the football in the first half, even though it's not going anywhere, hoping that it pays dividends in the second half. And that's what we're beginning to see. Tim Polasek told us that a lot of times their productivity goes way up in the second half because they wear people out. And the other interesting thing is, if we can't get the ball to the perimeter in a vertical fashion, how about a wheel route by a running back to get down the field? And that's exactly what North Dakota State did.
The Bison have been enormously successful in the third quarter this season. They've now outscored opponents 140-29 in the third quarter. There's Thomas. Now he's trying to get out of trouble.
That was a really poor decision by Thomas. He expected the ball to go into and through the end zone, and it dropped about on the 6-inch line and went straight up in the air. The last two plays of that scoring drive, the wheel route by Crockett. Don't have a wide receiver that can get deep. How about throw it to a running back, and then it's the true zone up inside. The offensive line washes the defensive line of Sam Houston State by, and then Frazier pays it off. Really good adjustments in this second half early. Throwing to the running backs deep, and then the true zone running game as opposed to the power running game out of North Dakota State.
Donovan Williams and Keyshawn Hill both in the game at running back. Johnson was looking to hand it off, nobody there, so he takes it himself, and he's tackled by Dudzik at the 10-yard line.
This is where Sam Houston State has to play clean. The bad decision on the kickoff, and then that time they were out of sync in the backfield. Someone busted a play. This is when it can get out of hand quickly.
Edge pressure. Johnson flushed and pummeled out of bounds by Carlton Littlejohn right at the line of scrimmage. Third down, and it's about to get loud.
Third down is tailor-made for this crowd in the Fargo Dome. The decimals are going to go way up, and they feel completely responsible for anything that happens bad for Sam Houston State, backed up right here.
Deep throw, it floats up, and it's incomplete. C.J. Smith knocked it away. Ladarius Brown, the intended receiver. Brown has been awfully quiet so far in this game.
And Brown just released to the fade. It's that cover 2 and tried to get in that fade zone, and a safety over the top and a corner underneath, and there was nowhere to throw this football. North Dakota State thought that if they could make Jared Johnson hold the football and read a defense, they could bait him into making a mistake. There was almost one right there.
Donovan punting from his own end zone. C.J. Smith with a fair catch at the 45. A 46-yard punt. The Bison with the lead and the football.
The 2014 NCAA FCS Football Championship is brought to you by Ultra HD from Vizio. Nothing is more captivating. And Pizza Hut. We're taking pizza where it's never been before.
The scene this morning at the Festival Concert Hall on the North Dakota State campus. 9 members of the Bison football team participating in commencement ceremonies. How about Sam Houston State? Their seniors who would miss graduation last week on the way to Villanova, they got their diplomas on the plane flight over.
I mean, that's college football at its finest right there.
Student athlete, right?
Were they actually in the air at that point or still in the tarmac?
They were in the air. They made an announcement on the plane.
Wow.
And then they had the seniors who were getting their diplomas take the walk down the airplane aisle.
I got my diploma at 33,000 feet. That's pretty special. I think I got mine mailed to me or something.
You had a game?
Exactly.
Crockett, a little wiggle, and he busts one. John Crockett, 55 yards, and the Bison have connected with a couple of haymakers.
North Dakota State runs into the boundary once again, a nation. Sam Houston State has a habit of playing extra defenders over there that really aren't defending anybody. So run into the boundary where you can pull people and outman the defense, and then you have the opportunity to gash them like Crockett and North Dakota State did right there.
And how about the big playability of the senior John Crockett? Last week against Coastal Carolina, he had touchdown runs of 70 and 45. He had a 33-yard catch on the last drive, and now a 55-yard touchdown run. He's at the century mark for the game.
What North Dakota State stands for offensively is what Crockett represents. He has the speed, the explosiveness, he has the vision, he has the physical toughness. He's a leader on this team, and he's playing his best ball of his life right now.
You said at the top of the broadcast, one of the keys for the Bison, explosive plays, throw those haymakers. We didn't see many in the first half.
The haymakers happened over here, and typically this has been into the boundary, away from the buck defender or the overload defender for Sam Houston State. North Dakota State targeted that in the first half. They're exploiting that here in the second half.
On their last 12 plays from scrimmage, the Bison have 174 yards. The Bearcats in their last 12 plays, 20 yards.
Sometimes it appears that Sam Houston State is defending green grass outside. They have to get it squared up and balanced up on that defensive front seven.
And now the Bearcats desperately need an answer. The beast is woken. Thomas will run it out. A little indecision for a minute, and he's dropped to the 14-yard line. 2 straight poor decisions by Gerald Thomas. Let's check in with Chris Cotter in the studio. I'm sure there's a basketball player in this generation who's aged better than Tim Duncan. Jared Johnson on the speed option had it knocked away, able to recover. That was a trouble play a few times against Villanova last week.
And Thornton, number 9 right there from his outside linebacker position, does a great job of fighting through the block and playing what was supposed to be a speed option outside.
Play action. Johnson over the middle. Finds Lewis. What a throw, what a catch.
And what timing for Sam Houston State. Zero pressure on Johnson, and he finds Lewis right down the middle of the field in that cover 2 zone.
Speed option again. Hill to the outside across midfield into Bison territory and close to a first down.
And Chris Kleiman, the head coach for North Dakota State, is just lighting the officiating crew up. On that speed option outside, he feels like his guys is getting cut outside the box and from behind.
Hill tackled by DeLuca. Ryan Schatz there as well.
You know, Nish, we talked about this being kind of a heavyweight fight, and North Dakota State is going to throw some punches, and they're going to throw some heavy punches, particularly in this third quarter. How does Sam Houston State respond? And this drive is vitally important.
They've brought in their bruiser, Jalen Overstreet, into the game. Johnson will keep it, and he picks up enough for the first down.
You know, just like North Dakota State hasn't had success in their power run game, Sam Houston State hasn't had consistent success with their quarterback running the football either, which is their #1 run play.
This is the 6th best rushing offense in the FCS. Johnson under pressure, goes down. Kyle Emanuel gets credit for the sack. 4th sack of the game by the Bison.
I believe that's the 2.5 sacks on the evening for the Buck Buchanan Award winner. He didn't have a great game last week, but he flashed early and has flashed often here this evening.
Johnson's pass intercepted by C.J. Smith. No, they say it hit the ground. The line judge came in, said the ball hit the ground.
The quick passing game, and Ladarius Brown just does not get any separation. He's supposed to settle back inside, but actually C.J. Smith, you're right, it hit the ground. C.J. Smith ran a better route than Ladarius Brown did.
The Bearcats have to get to the Bison 34. Johnson out of the pocket, throws on the run, too high, incomplete. Jedediah Lewis was the target, and it's 4th and long.
Johnson got chased out of the pocket, and the thing that he did is he didn't get his shoulders squared to the line of scrimmage when he threw this. He had Lewis open, setting in the void in that zone on the back end, but right there, turn your shoulders a little bit more, square your hips to the line of scrimmage, and just throw that one in there. That's why it sailed on it.
Christian Dudzik back at the 10-yard line. Good high punt by Donovan. Dudzik the catch inside the 15. A 35-yard punt, no return. Monday night, Andy Dalton and the Bengals look to stay in the playoff hunt. They'll take on Peyton Manning and the AFC West champion Broncos Monday at 8:15 Eastern on ESPN. It's interesting when you compare a quarterback to Peyton Manning. First thing that you think of is the way Manning manages the line of scrimmage. We're not comparing Carson Wentz to Peyton Manning, but his offensive coordinator told us he has a lot of the same responsibilities that we see on Sunday that Manning has at the line of scrimmage.
It's extensive. That's exactly right, and that's the comparison. So much of the run game is handled by 11 at the line of scrimmage, just like he is right there.
Screen pass. Eric Perkins with a nice gain.
Load the box inside defensively, throw the quick screen outside offensively. That's just numbers and getting the ball where they're not. Watch all the minutia that Carson Wentz does at the line of scrimmage when he gets there, and sometimes the play call is simply this: best run. That's what they signal in. That's how intelligent number 11 is.
Ball on the far hash. Let's see if North Dakota State attacks the boundary. Wentz finds Erzengowski. The freshman breaks one tackle. And then he's dropped at the 34-yard line. 3 yards shy of the first down, so 3rd and short.
And I think attacking that boundary is going to show up again sooner than later. And that defender that's over there is Darian Flowers, number 40, who plays what they call the buck position. It's kind of a linebacker safety hybrid type of position. And he always goes to the wide side, so there's a little bit more softness this direction.
Bearcats wanted a flag. They thought somebody moved up front. It appeared that way. Play clock running down. And a gain of 2 yards. It'll bring up 3rd and 1.
Watch the fullback right here. You definitely get movement out of this guy right here. Right before that, there was a hiccup. You could have looked at it just a skosh earlier than that, and there certainly was a hiccup by the fullback, and the officials just overlooked it.
How about John Crockett, 102 yards rushing, his 5th straight 100-yard game, and the 20th of his career. Out of the 2 tight end look. Crockett again following his blockers, pushes across the 40-yard line to the 39. The FCS championship concludes in Frisco, Texas in 3 weeks, where a champion will be crowned. You can watch the game live on ESPN2 January 10th at 1 Eastern. For more info, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 89 NCAA championships. Feeding Crockett again. And he seems to be getting stronger here in the second half.
And it's right down Main Street again, and this is exactly what North Dakota State's MO is. They run it between the tackles. Actually, they're hurrying up right here, and then they'll bust one to the edge.
Staying with the 2 tight end look. Why not? Crockett again. And right now the Bearcats have no answer for number 23 in green.
And a little G scheme. They're going to move the guard right there. Is going to step around as Jeremy Kelly and lead the play on the opposite side. It is a tight run up inside.
Another first down. It's Crockett. Give him 5. He's over 1,800 yards rushing this season. He set the school's single-season rush record last week. He broke Lamar Gordon's record. Another run. Crockett inside the 30, and this is grown man football right now.
And it's the same play. That was the 4th time in a row, and Jeremy Kelly is right here. He's simply going to step around. They call it the G scheme. Relocate on the opposite side, block down on the left side, and then get Crockett right over where the center lined up. And it's just grown man football, like you said, and it's gut check time for Sam Houston State defensively.
Clock winding down, the 3rd quarter in the books. And the 3-time defending champion North Dakota State Bison 15 minutes away from a 4th straight trip to Frisco, Texas. North Dakota State has owned the 3rd quarter this season. They've now outscored opponents 147-29 in the 3rd. FCS Football Championship presented by Northwestern Mutual. The Bison offense came out of hibernation in that 3rd quarter, 217 yards. And right now they're in the midst of an 8-play, 58-yard drive. And this has been a break-your-spirit type of drive. It's been John Crockett running it straight at this Bearcat defense. This is King Frazier, who's got a touchdown run. Frazier to the 25-yard line, a first down for North Dakota State. And this Bearcat defensive line, and really this defense, which dominated the line of scrimmage for most of the first half, has been overmatched in this second half.
Well, North Dakota State asked this question: how eager is this Sam Houston front going to be in the second half, and 8 to 10 plays into a drive, and that's where we are right now, and it looks like that defensive front is running out of gas.
Now the game clock is not moving. I don't know why. Officials don't catch it. That's Crockett again inside the 20 to the 19. A gain of 6. Now the clock is running. You know, the 2 third-quarter scoring drives, Kelly, as you pointed out, those were haymakers, long plays, explosive plays. This has been a series of body blows.
Yeah, and this is a prototypical championship-type drive out of this program the last 3 or 4, actually more years than that, but last 3 championships. Physical gut check right now for Sam Houston State.
And it has been run, run, run. Another run. Crockett. A couple of yards shy of the marker. 3rd and short coming up.
And it literally has been that same run. Maybe they flip it and go to the other side, but it's what they call the G scheme. The guard on one side just simply steps around and blocks the point of attack, essentially where the center has now left, because the center blocks back away from the play, and that's exactly what they're doing, and it's designed to go right down Broadway.
Stick with the run or play action here?
I think you pound them into oblivion if you can.
That's Crockett. It looked like maybe there was a pass option, and the second effort gets John Crockett a first down.
That's what Crockett brings to the table. This was a design get you kind of pass. But watch the effort right there at the end. He understands what his team needs. The fact of the matter is, 2 defenders gave up on the play. The guy carrying the football, which was Crockett, did not give up on it and gets a first down. Plays like that win championships.
Well-deserved breather for Crockett as Frazier comes back in. Boundary to the right. Frazier on the counter. And he's to the 10-yard line. 2nd and 7.
And I think right in here is where you may see the play-action pass off of that guy carrying the football. You can see the numbers last week, 227 yards tonight. He's getting it done, particularly on this drive, and in the second half in particular. He has been spectacular.
And he's a workhorse.
I really believe he's one of those backs that gets better the more he gets lathered up.
340-plus carries this season. That is by far a school record for single-season rushing attempts. Crockett inside the 5, draggling tackles. Hang on. I'm not sure there was a signal yet. The cannons went off.
Premature cannons does not a touchdown make.
Premature anything isn't good.
Yeah, this goes down to the 1-foot line, but look at the effort. There are 4 or 5 defenders, and I think he's in. He was actually rolling across the body of number 90. And I think he actually got in before any of his body touched. It was called down on the...
They're going to look at it upstairs.
Inside the 1-yard line, and I think they're taking a closer look, and I think this is going to be overturned.
George Burton, our replay official, part of a Big South officiating crew. It sure appeared he got in, but you saw the judge come, or one of the officials come from the side and say, nope.
Odebo is the one, number 90, on the ground right there.
Yeah,
the feet don't count. That doesn't matter at all. And the backside,
right now it looks like the ball is across the plane.
The ball is across.
This might be an easy call.
Yep, he rolls right across the body of the defender and politely rolls right into the end zone.
And that play sums up the drive, doesn't it?
Exactly what I was going to say. I mean, not only is Crockett carrying it, but carrying it in that fashion on that play where they've run it at least 6 or 7 times on this drive. And the thing that Crockett is, maybe more than anything else, is patient. He allows the play to develop, and then he gets the most out of what's there.
What was the halftime adjustment that North Dakota State made to get its run game going?
They abandoned the power game, except for this G scheme that is somewhat
After
the power.
further review, the runner was on top of the defender as he crossed the goal line. Touchdown.
Yeah, we saw that coming, but the adjustments, they went away from their double puller power game, and they went to the single puller, the G that steps around a guard, one guard or the other steps around the center. But then it's where they're targeting. They're not going to the edges in the power anymore. They're running right at the nose tackle, and that's working very well.
Chris Kleiman in his first year as North Dakota State's head coach, looking to continue the Bison tradition. 28-3 with 11:37 to go in the fourth. Kleiman's got a smile on his face, and the Bison can sniff Frisco. The Bison's a four-peat. Augustana did it in Division III in the 1980s. The New York Islanders in the NHL, Dennis Potvin, Mike Bossy in the early 80s. Of course, the Boston Celtics won 8 straight titles. Red Auerbach, the head coach. There's John Havlicek, Bill Russell, Bob Cousy. And then the Yankees, the last Major League Baseball team to win 4+ championships in a row, 49-53. The end of the DiMaggio era, the beginning of the Mantle era. And Chris Kleiman and North Dakota State poised to get to Frisco for a 4th straight season, playing for a spot in history. At the FCS level, to win 4 in a row would be just an incredible feat in this day and age.
And we saw them muscle up that last drive, and that's a championship type of drive we just saw.
14 plays, 87 yards, 7+ minutes. That is vintage North Dakota State.
That's a defensive gut ripper right there.
The winner of this game will face New Hampshire or Illinois State. Here's Gerald Thomas out of his own end zone. And he gets smashed at the 15-yard line. Let's go to the studio and Chris Cotter.
Benicio, we're talking about dynasties. How about Wisconsin Whitewater winning their 6th Division III title, 43-34 over Mountain Union. This pick by Zach Nellis is second of the game, sealing it. So it's always one of these two teams. This year, it's Wisconsin Whitewater. Guys?
That has been a familiar refrain on the D3 circuit. As North Dakota State is becoming a familiar refrain on the FCS circuit. Screen pass to Hill. Broke one tackle, and he's to the 25-yard line, close to the first down. Kelly, the Bearcats this season arrived well ahead of schedule. It's a very young team. 22 starters back next year. They're not going anywhere. Jedediah Lewis kept on hitting the B button.
And I don't want to get too far ahead of the game, but these two teams might be on the collision course somewhere deep into the playoffs a year from now, if not in the championship game itself.
Well, they've met in the championship game 2 of the last 3 years, the semifinals this year. Bearcats with a lot coming back. We could be talking about Sam Houston State, North Dakota State, like we did Brooklyn Dodgers, New York Yankees, or Celtics Lakers, you know, to Wisconsin Whitewater Mountain Union, if you will.
There you go. That's current. Well, certainly Sam Houston State knows how to hurry up. Their MO to begin the year was up-tempo, spread it out, quarterback run mixed with quick passing game, and so all of that is on the table currently.
Corner blitz. Johnson read it right. Dempsey was coming his way. The throw just skips on Derek Edwards.
Yeah, Edwards just didn't look it into his hand, but you're exactly right. Jared Johnson saw it perfectly. The corner blitz was coming into his face, and you just pick the ball up and throw it to the vacated spot. Edwards didn't finish the play.
Johnson steps up, now he'll run, and he gets to the 40-yard line, tackled by Brad Ambrosius, one of the backup D-linemen.
I think North Dakota State's defensive game plan really kicked in late in the first half, and then in this second half altogether, and play zone on the back end, don't give up any big plays, and force this team to drive the football to get points.
Hill goes wide, empty look. Johnson over the middle, and that's caught by Edwards. Now the ball comes out, but there's a flag back at the 31-yard line.
Holding, offense number 74, 10-yard penalty, third down.
We have not had a ton of penalties in this game, and Sam Houston State struggled with penalties in the first 4 games. They really cleaned it up down the stretch, a big reason for their turnaround. Head coach Casey Keeler likes to say, play clean.
Yeah, and that's what they emphasized in those bye weeks, is playing clean, learning how to play with more discipline. And some of the discipline comes with Coach Keeler and his staff learning his players better, and vice versa. And they learned their schemes, and they felt more comfortable, and you can execute at a higher level when your comfort level goes up.
Jared Johnson close to a couple of personal milestones. He's closing in on 3,000 yards passing and 1,000 yards rushing. First-year starter. Took over for Brian Bell, the winningest quarterback in school history. On the run, Johnson, middle of the field, and that's caught by Gerald Thomas for a gain of 21. The Bearcats move the chains.
Carlton Littlejohn absolutely lit up Jared Johnson at the end of this play. Take a look at this. Completely clean. Littlejohn was in the process of launching. The question that Casey Keeler is asking right now is, was there helmet-to-helmet contact?
Johnson out of the game. Don King, the backup, in at quarterback. King throws one into the flat. Jedediah Lewis to the 45-yard line.
Let's take a look at this play, Anish. The play before, when Littlejohn hit the quarterback, is there targeting? If there's any contact, helmet to helmet, or anything above the shoulders in the head and neck, it should be targeting. We couldn't quite make it out from that vantage point.
Ball start, offense number 70, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Well, Jared Johnson comes back in for Don King, so it appears Johnson is okay. Take another look.
Is there any contact above the neck or the shoulders in the head and neck with the helmet? That was close, but I think the officials might have gotten it right, but Casey Keeler certainly didn't think so. It was a violent hit nonetheless.
Johnson backpedaling. There's the screen to Hill. Trying to get the perimeter and tackled by Jordan Champion.
Very difficult to run screens consistently well against what North Dakota State is doing offensively. Tampa 2 zone is all about seeing the quarterback and breaking on the football, and you keep your eyes on the ball because you're comfortable with your zone drops.
Johnson chased over the middle, caught by Ladarius Brown, the TCU transfer, with just his second catch of the game. And now an injured Bison player back near midfield. Mike Hardy is the injured North Dakota State player. Trainers will tend to him. 7:50 to go in regulation. The Bison looking to punch their ticket to the championship in Frisco.
Lakers and Thunder on ESPN News right now. 5 bowl games tomorrow, one of them on ABC, the rest on ESPN. I like that. Royal Purple Las Vegas Bowl, Utah, Colorado State. Get a chance to see Rashard Higgins do his thing at receiver. Guys?
Kelly, you and I saw Higgins in Colorado State earlier this season. One of the most underrated wide receivers in the FBS. Johnson over the middle, and that's intercepted. Picked off by North Dakota State. Nick DeLuca, the linebacker, out there in coverage. And the Bison just have to put the ribbon and wrapping paper on this one. The coaching staff told us Nick DeLuca was going to be a special talent here for the Bison. An interception, and North Dakota State just rolling. As the regular season in the NFL comes to a close, Mike Tirico sits down with Peyton Manning to talk playoffs, legacy, and a Monday night showdown in Cincinnati. It's our Sunday conversation on the 11 p.m. Sports Center this Sunday. Sam Houston State hadn't thrown an interception in the previous 2 games. Nick DeLuca with the pick, and North Dakota State is going to run the ball and bleed some clock. Gain of 2 on first down for Crockett.
Let's take a look at what Tampa 2 means to North Dakota State. 2 high safeties are going to work this direction. Corners are looking inside on both sides, but the other thing you get is the linebacker DeLuca running the middle of the field, which is a staple of Tampa 2. Eyes on the quarterback, take away anything down the middle, and right there he keeps his eyes on the ball, breaks on it. That's prototypical Tampa 2 coverage, and it's a staple defensively for North Dakota State.
It's been an impressive second half for the Bison. They've outscored Sam Houston State 21-0 as Crockett gets across midfield to the Bearcat 48-yard line. 3rd down coming up.
Sam Houston State held up really well defensively, Anish, in that first half.
No question.
But that power, physical run game a lot of times takes its toll in the 3rd quarter in the second half. And that's exactly what we started to see. A little bit of run adjustment, but mainly it was that physical nature catching up with Sam Houston State defensively.
You see what the Bison have done on the ground this postseason. John Crockett has gone over 100 yards in 5 straight games. Wide open, Andrew Bonnet, the fullback in the flat, finally upended near the 20-yard line. A gain of 31 yards. Run, 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 play action. And there's an injured Bearcat on the far sideline. It looks like Trey Orr. It is Trey Orr, their top corner.
Orr made a great effort play to get Bonnet out of bounds, but you're exactly right. The play action, boot game, and then the fullback, who's usually running into someone, sneaks out into the flat. A great effort play by Orr at the end there, and ends up getting hurt. But that's exactly what North Dakota State presents offensively. Is it's usually power, 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 truck outside, and then play action pass, they go deep. They're not looking to dunk in their power game, or excuse me, in their play action game.
Timeout on the field, and we step aside as well. 5:56 to go in regulation. All Casey Keeler can do is watch.
The 2014 NCAA FCS Football Championship is presented by Northwestern Mutual, proud to be an official corporate partner of the NCAA.
When in Fargo, do as the Fargoans do. I think it's the Fargoans. Tim, Frankie, members of our crew went curling, the FM Curling Club, one of 10 sanctioned curling clubs in the state of North Dakota. That was a good sell job by those guys.
They had no idea what they were doing.
They probably went through all the video they had. Hey, don't use this clip, don't use this clip. Make sure to use this one. I look like what I'm doing. I look like I know what I'm doing here.
I heard one of our guys crash to the ice.
It doesn't surprise me.
I actually heard it was Dustin, who's the youngest and the most fit guy, but Dustin, come on, man.
Yeah, we like to have fun here.
There isn't any like water you can fall into under that eye. That's Dustin.
There's Dustin.
Look
Come
how
on.
yoked he is, and he fell to the ground. Come on now. And by the way, Tim threw you under the bus. We would have known nothing about it. It certainly wasn't on the video there.
It's funny how they can doctor all that in the truck.
Yeah.
1st and 10 from the 17-yard line. John Crockett tackled by Chapman. Don't forget, following our game, Kevin Connors, Jonathan Coachman have you covered. Day in Sports at Sports Center. 5 minutes to go here in regulation. Chris Kleiman, first year as the Bison's head coach. And he's going to get this team back to Frisco, where North Dakota State will defend its championship. They've won 3 in a row. Well, this has been incredibly impressive considering all that this team lost. We said it at the top of the broadcast, 20-plus seniors gone. They lose Brock Jensen, the winningest quarterback in school history. Craig Bohl, the head coach, goes to Wyoming, takes pretty much the entire staff with him. 3rd down after a short run by Crockett.
And that's the impressive thing to me is Chris Kleiman was the perfect guy for the job, but he had to essentially go get an entirely new staff. And that's the impressive thing. You can continue on down the same road, new head coach, new staff, but I mean, so many things remain the same philosophically, and that was the important thing.
You know, we ran the little dynasty piece earlier in the broadcast, and the dynasty word gets thrown around a lot in sports, but if you think of dynasty in the true sense, can you win once key guys move on? Can that success be continued when there is a break sometimes in terms of personnel? Wentz throwing on the run in the end zone. Touchdown, North Dakota State. R.J. Urzendowski.
Well, you can continue to win when guys move on, when guys like Wentz moves into that position for Brock Jensen, and then Urzendowski does a nice job of recognizing that his quarterback was running out of the pocket. Starts inside, battles, sees his quarterback, holds up his hand and runs to the corner. I mean, that's picture perfect scramble drill. There goes Wentz. Urzendowski is going to find him in the corner of the end zone. That's good stuff.
Adam Keller, who's got 4 toes on his kicking foot, drills the extra point. It's been all Bison here in the second half. They've outscored the Bearcats 28-0 since the start of the 3rd quarter. If you're a fan of Sam Houston State, no shame in this season whatsoever. This was a program early in the year. They were 1-3. If you were reading some message boards, people were calling for Casey Keeler's head. Hey, is he the right guy for this program? Willie Fritz was so successful leading this team to 2 title games. Keeler came over after a year off. He was at Delaware where he won a championship, took the Blue Hens to 2 other title games. But they started to get things right, really beginning with the Lamar game. They had a bye week before that, a bye week after that. Essentially, they played 1 game in a month. Why that schedule quirk? Well, Sam Houston State started the season a week earlier, playing on August 23rd against Eastern Washington. That was a second training camp. It was a way to get all these FBS transfers and this team to start playing together. That really galvanized this team. They built up chemistry, and I'll tell you what, 22 players coming back.
Yeah, they're going to be right in the thick of things next year.
And they might not have to leave their home field next year in the playoffs. Capital One Bowl Mania kicks off on Saturday. It's bowl season, 11 a.m., the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl, and then it's Utah State, UTEP in the Gildan, New Mexico Bowl, and on ABC, the Royal Purple Las Vegas Bowl, Utah and Kelly's alma mater, Colorado State. What a season it's been for your Rams.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward for the Rams. New head coach is going to show up at some point in time. They did approve the on-campus stadium, so they're no longer going to be out in Hughes by the bottom of the mountain. And interesting times at Colorado State.
Jared Johnson on first down has a little bit of room. And he is to the 35-yard line. And with that run, Johnson now with 61 yards rushing. He needs 6 more to get to 1,000 on the season, and that would mean 3,000 passing and 1,000 rushing. He's only a sophomore. You talk about building blocks for the future. Zone read. And he's to the 40, a gain of 4, so he needs about 3 more unofficially to get to the millennium mark in terms of rushing yards. Sports Center follows our game tomorrow at 2 Eastern on ESPNU, the second semifinal, New Hampshire and Illinois State. The Bison with history with both of those teams. Nothing doing there as Josh Reynolds fell down for a loss. New Hampshire lost in the semifinals in this building to North Dakota State last year. That was a blowout. Illinois State, also from the Missouri Valley Conference, so there is a chance it could be an all-Missouri Valley Conference championship game. And the Redbirds and the Bison did not play in the regular season. They shared the conference title. Both were 7-1 in league play. Both, incidentally, lost to Northern Iowa. Gain of 6 there for Keyshawn Hill. Who do you like in that game tomorrow?
It's such a contrast in styles. I really like the way Illinois State is playing right now. A physical, man-em-up run game that travels well. I'm kind of leaning toward them in this matchup.
On 4th and 2, the Bearcats get just enough for a first down. Well, that running back, Coppridge, 4 touchdowns. What did he have? 250 yards last week against Eastern Washington. He leads the nation in rushing yards, the FCS at least. New Hampshire has the nation's top receiver, and the Wildcats are home. Johnson checks down, finds Derek Edwards. Texas Tech transfer, slips 1 tackle, and picks up a first down, a gain of 11. You know, Edwards was a YouTube sensation for about 5 minutes. When he was at Texas Tech after a spring practice, he challenged former head coach Cliff Kingsbury to a dance-off. And he won.
Well, I think I could win that dance-off.
Cliff's got some moves, young guy. Mid-30s.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything to me.
You might lose the female vote if it came to that, though.
Maybe. My wife was just offended with that remark.
With that last run, Jared Johnson now over 1,000 yards on the ground for the season. And he might have to get some of those back now. That's a loss of 5, so. Five sacks now. For North Dakota State. And I believe Johnson needs about 2 or 3 yards here to get back over 1,000. Screen pass. Here's Hill. And he's got a first down for the Bearcats. North Dakota State headed to Frisco, and that means Fargo makes its annual pilgrimage to the state of Texas.
Well, they will go down to Frisco and try to take that place over again, and it'll be interesting because Illinois State, New Hampshire, whoever comes out of that, it's going to be a terrific matchup in that national championship game.
Last play of the game, Jalen Overstreet tackled at the 17-yard line, and the Bison will play for a 4th consecutive FCS championship. The incredible run continues. North Dakota State moves on. Sports Center is next here on ESPN2. We send it over to Bristol. Jonathan Coachman and Kevin Connors.